Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the City of Bettendorf Committee of the Whole meeting. Today is Monday, June 20th, 2022. It's 5 o'clock p.m. Thank you all for being here. We have a presentation this evening, operational items to discuss, and some consent agenda items before we take up our entire consent agenda. We will start with the Downtown Business Organization, and for that we welcome Ryan Jancy, our CEO, who's been running this now for year 3?
Year 2 of the SMID being official.
Okay,
right? But
yes.
about year 5 in downtown Bettendorf.
Yeah.
Steering committee and everything else.
A little bit of work to do. Ryan, thank you very much for being here. Who do you got with you today?
Thanks for having me. Again, I'm Ryan Jancy, Executive Director of the Downtown Bettendorf Organization. In attendance today is Don Keller, board member, Valerie Search, also a board member, and my colleague Kyle Carter from the Quad City Chamber of Commerce. I want to preface first, I want to thank for all the support that I receive from the elected officials, from the mayor, from the staff, all the stuff that's here. I'm a small part of it, right? A lot of this is done because of the vision of this council, because of the work of the staff here, and we're moving in the right direction. So we're going to give you a little snapshot of what we achieved in FY22 in the forms of business and economic growth, infrastructure and livability, advocacy and promotion in downtown Bettendorf. So first, I'd like to point out my FYO DBO Board of Directors for FY22. Michelle Blunk was our chair. Don Keller was our vice chair, and he'll be sliding into the chair position in FY23. And the rest of these have all been with us, minus Brad Knudsen, who filled Dale Owen's seat from the beginning. These are all stakeholders within downtown Bettendorf. They're invested. Many of them are reinvesting in the district because of what we are experiencing and because of the growth we are experiencing in downtown Bettendorf. So as I mentioned, I am a division of the Quad City Chamber of Commerce, and what we do down here would not be able to be done if I did not have that support. My colleague likes to represent it as a three-legged stool. The DBO is one of those legs on that, but we're supported again by the Chamber through business and economic growth and talent and attraction and development. So getting people here and making sure they have a good business, and then my job is making sure that we have a cool downtown and a place where people want to live, work, and play. So again, we wouldn't be able to achieve a quarter of this without support, again, from staff and from the Quad City Chamber behind doing all the dirty work behind the scenes. So just to touch a little bit on what is place management, my job revolves around business and economic growth, strategic planning for partnerships, financial assistance, which we'll show a little bit of coming forward, business retention and recruitment, leverage light blend of development, the right blend of development and networking, and then infrastructure and livability, which is clean and safe, complete streets, which we addressed a little bit over the last year, and we'll touch some base on that. And then advocacy and promotion, just making sure that the state is working in tandem with us, especially what we're seeing with the bridge out here to make sure that our right-of-ways are being attended to and any other safety issues are being addressed in a timely manner. One of the biggest successes of FY22 was the rebirth of our facade and interior grant program. I'm happy to say that we've invested $50,000 in downtown Bettendorf, which has leveraged over $277,000 of private investment. One of the biggest success stories is Platinum Salon and Spa. They were currently a renter down here. She loved downtown Bettendorf, was able to take the old State Street interior building, again with the help from City Council and from us, and turn it, a dilapidated building, into a business. That's success right there, right? And so we're also be able to give some other grants over the year. We're Adventurous Brewing with their interior grant. Adventurous is booming, west end of town. Lines are lined up around the corner to get some of their beers. The right type of mix for our downtown. More businesses like that we'd like to continue to see. Tango Salon and the Bulldog Arms and Verde, and then also here on 17th Street with some cleaning up of their facade in the front area that had some weeds, and we did some bricks, and then some sidewalks will be, or I'm sorry, parking lots will also be a part of their facade grant program or their grant. During FY22, we wanted to do another housing study to show developers and bankers that this is a safe investment down here. We have found out that we have increased 3.5 percentage points in 2020 to the highest occupancy level in Bettendorf. Bettendorf continues to experience the highest level of occupancy. What is missing is the millennials. But you'll start to see that with the bridge's lofts being built. Urban living is sexy to people, not only to millennials, but to empty nesters as well. So we are suggesting that we continue with exploring having a walkable downtown, having a safe downtown, and that's going to help create that or help fill that generational gap and bring some of those millennials into our downtown. Another example would be cool events like you see the food truck fights. That's exciting to millennials, right? And the ability to walk from your home into the downtown is attractive for that type of living. The study also suggested that the market exists to support up to 425 market rate units. Great news as we look to develop the west side of the bridge in downtown Bettendorf. We also, the DBO also had the pleasure of being the conduit of helping bring some of these other events down here. Food truck fights was just last weekend. I know the mayor and some other people in the room were at this event. 10,000 people came to our downtown in a basically an abandoned warehouse, if you will. It's been cleaned up a little bit. It was able to be activated. This probably may not have happened if it wasn't for the DBO working with the Isle and the Goldstein families to bring this promoter to the table. We're also excited to look at Hand in Hand concert as being proposed for Labor Day weekend. And we're again looking forward to attracting those people down here. And then we want to continue to invest in our walkability and making sure that that getting to these events is safe and it's well lit and it's in an attractive downtown that people want to visit. As we continue, that flows right into what we've been working with Mr. Ryder and his staff. We are going to tweak and take a look at revamping the downtown master plan. So we, as an organization, have a seat at the table where before it was just something that was presented to downtown property owners, but now we are physically at the table and helping address these issues. We took part in a healthy hometown walkability study that shows some of the areas that we are lacking. There's some ADA compliance issues that we'd like to see addressed. And again, that's just going to help continue our growth from the middle of downtown to the outskirts of downtown, making it accessible to our neighborhoods and a place where people want to live and be a part of our activities that are happening in downtown Bettendorf. Over the last year, we were able to, again, retention is a big in promoting businesses downtown. We were happy to say Yoso will be opening up here in August. Riverside Grill was a retain. We were able to move them into the new Essentra building over there, or the old Essentra building. Totally revamp that space over there, no longer a bank. That is a hot corner over there if you come down on a Friday, Saturday night. State Street, or Grant Street, if you will, has parking on it. And that's a traffic calming element, right? We want to see full streets. We want to see people walking to different businesses. Linden and Light, once again, furniture was our chair, Michelle Blunk. She has extended her business from within and also includes, once again, furniture, took over the old Riverside place over there. And then Precious Paws Veterinary Clinic, again, that you look back to a facade grant that is Baron Sexton's property down there, able to attract businesses because of the investment in the building. And we also see some new life being down at the Alter building with the Bettendorf Disc Center, C&W Trucking, and the Quad City Regional Business Journal. We are hoping to see more businesses, and we know we're going to see more businesses with the completion of the bridge, and we want to continue to work with those businesses to help them, whether it be facade grants or interior grants or promoting their business in downtown. As we move into infrastructure and livability, I think it's important that we point out some of the work that the DBO does. We are the gateway into the Midwest, the gateway into Iowa, if you will. We have a new front porch, and we're starting to work through some of the ins and outs of that. But I want to make sure, as an organization, that when you come off that I-74 ramp, that you are coming into a well-kept downtown. We're going to see more beautification efforts around those identity pieces. But I want, again, it's weed control, it's all those things that make you want to come back, if you will, and not only come back, but possibly live in our downtown. So we'll be looking again, we maintain Be the Light Park. We're seeing some growing pains over there with Old State Street being worked on. But we will, hopefully by the end of the summer, when that job is finished, do an official groundbreaking. And if I can remind you, Be the Light Park was in reference to our colleague and my mentor that helped start this organization in Dale Owen. So we're excited to get that official groundbreaking and official dedication for Dale in that park. And then the routine inspections, including the newest I-74, I was able to work with Chief Kimball and get permission to be up there. I think it's important that we have eyes on that Oculus up there, whether it's keeping it clean, making sure there's no graffiti and stuff like that, just doing kind of different stops along those lines. And then one thing I put on here, the IDOT fencing, we were able to stop that before it got too far down the road. If you do remember, they talked about chain link fences. The DOT had that in their plans. Not the best look we want for our downtown. So we're moving forward, and with thanks to the city, we're going to look at possibly, or I know we are going to see wrought iron fences and a little bit better of a look in our downtown. But it's nice to have someone to have some eyes and ears out there, making sure that our downtown is looking its best. We've invested in the bump outs, again, a traffic calming element. We've in the past, I've heard nothing grows there because it's full of salt and full of everything else. Well, that's easy to fix. We just put new compost in there, and right now they're booming down here and they look really good. We did run a pilot program this year. If you'll notice, we do have only 4 hanging baskets out here. There's a reason for that. This is a significant investment in downtown. These are self-watering baskets, if you will, which allow for watering or filling every 5 days, as opposed to being watered every single day. And then they're also, what we're excited about is the arms were made locally at A&S Tool, and these flowers were grown at Wallace's. So we're starting to build relationships with other local businesses, and we anticipate, again, these have been performing very well, and we are going to see an additional 40 flowers on 20 different arms down here starting next summer. As we move into advocacy and promotion, we'll just touch on a couple things on the Bet on Downtown commercial and our holiday promotions and Be Downtown and the events that happen down here. We did have promoted a commercial. Our mantra down here is to bet on downtown. We encourage people to take that bet on downtown, that we are growing down here. Businesses are thriving. I've heard from our Concept Bath and Fireplaces Plus that work is booked out for 1.5 years now, so that's a good sign. And some of our other shops have seen roughly 30 patrons throughout the day, gone up to about 70 patrons throughout the day. And I think that's due to the bridge being complete, and commerce between the river, between Iowa and Illinois is no longer an issue, and people are exploring and checking out new things that are happening in Bettendorf.
Bet on Downtown Bettendorf. It's where you can connect with family.
These commercials are currently showing on streaming videos,
after a hard
and
day.
our market stretches all the way to
Or
Chicago.
celebrate a big
We're
win.
seeing a lot of
It's
people
where
coming
homes
down
on the
visiting from
riverfront.
Chicago, which is a market we like to get
And
into.
locals rely on experts to help create your dream home. No matter what your slice of life is, you can always bet on downtown. And we have so much more to come.
So again, that was a targeted ad campaign. We're targeting not only the sports fanatics with our sports, with our football, cold beverages, and good friends, but we're also promoting the do-it-yourselfer or the home improvement aspects of downtown, which we have many of professionals within our downtown that can help answer those questions and help people create their dream home, if you will. Over the winter, we did have some great success with our Deck the Downtowns. This project helped to drive holiday traffic to downtown Bettendorf. We were excited to add, in the years past, we had only a few of the light poles lit. This year, we were able to do the entire length of State Street, which I think added a great atmosphere downtown. And then we didn't want to leave Grant Street out of the mix, so we saw a lot of the holiday window promotions happening over there. And it involved a lot of leg traffic and people coming down to see that. And we're excited to see that continue to grow in the years as we continue to advance our goals of creating a prosperous downtown. Be Downtown was a great success. We have to be cognizant of the space we are in down there, being close to the bridge, but with the urban park being built soon, that was our reasoning for having it down here. We had a lot of people that were down there interested in the $527.22 we gave away, and we did give away 10 of those. We want to thank our sponsors for that. But the energy is there, and people are, especially people that live in the bridges, lofts, were super excited about what was happening down there, wanted to see something like this every week. And I told them, that something, maybe not every week, but something like this is coming as we continue to evolve downtown and we continue to build the urban park and more development happens on the west side to where you can see a Thursday night or a Wednesday night concert series happening in downtown Bettendorf in the near future. We also promote outside of the district. This is the ad in the Visit Quad Cities destination guide. We want people to know that we are part of the Quad Cities and our downtown has turned the corner and there's a lot of great things happening down here, not only for young professionals, but also a great place to raise a family. And we're going to continue to promote that throughout the region. Again, I mentioned it before, but a lot of this stuff, I'm simply the mouthpiece. I am the person on the street, but none of this could get done without support, mainly from the staff you have here. We do have some negligent property owners that code enforcement was Johnny on the spot and was able to help out with. We do have a plan to address graffiti as we move forward, and especially bigger graffiti, working with property owners and the city and the DBO to make that a three-way split and removing that. Making sure our parks and right-of-way are clean and well-maintained, and then revamping our downtown master plan is still a work in progress. And then some signage regulations, we're starting to work through the iterations on that too. We just need to continue to collaborate and work towards these goals, and the proof is in the pudding, and it is working tremendously right now. So again, if you look forward to FY23, we're going to see additional baskets in our downtown, more traffic calming elephants, a DBO cleaning ambassador. Technically right now, I'm the person that goes out and does this, but we want to have someone that's more of a regular presence down here, especially when we get to looking at maintaining those exits of the off-ramps and getting that trash picked up before a lawnmower comes through and turns one piece into 75,000 pieces, if you will. Speaking of $75,000, we are going to increase from $50,000 to $75,000 in facade and interior grant money for downtown. We've already seen interest in that, and once the start of the fiscal year comes out, I'm sure we're going to see a couple applications be brought to us. We're excited for the construction of the urban park. We want to thank the city council and the staff for working on that. We're going to update the master plan, more holiday promotions, and again, just a continued collaboration and an effort to make this downtown all it can be. I want to thank Michelle Blunk. She was our chair FY23. Not only is she now a property owner down here, she has continued to invest in it by adding more businesses, and it has been down here for many years. And we look forward to her continuing on the board as she rolls off the chair position. I want to thank Don Keller. Someone, speaking of 75, has been down here 75 years, not Don, but his business. But that just goes back to show what we are all about. This isn't my organization. This isn't City Council's organization. This is Downtown Properties organization. And it is them that are bringing these ideas, and they are coming to fruition with the help of City Council and city staff and committed stakeholders like Don and Michelle. Baron Sexton will be rolling into our vice chair, and this year I want to thank Valerie Search while she's in the room. She'll be stepping down. She's been pretty busy with her accounting business, and we do appreciate all the time that she has given to the board. And we have nominated 2 more board members that will come on board, Scott Gibson with Adel, and Gary Quimby, who is a property owner in downtown Bettendorf, will be joining the board here in the start of FY23. And this is just what I talked about earlier, how about community and what we are about. And we are about creating a prosperous downtown, and I look forward to continuing the charge and working with everybody in this room. Any questions from anybody?
Questions for Ryan? Frank, questions for Ryan?
No, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Nice job. Thanks for the communication, and we're always talking, and you're part of the group with Jeff and everybody. We know where things are, and that communication and that collaboration is what's helping work, as you've indicated, and we really appreciate your hard work and the work of the board. Thank you very much. Hopefully this continues to thrive. Yes, Mr. Plain?
I just want to remind the council that both Jerry and I sit on the board as representatives of the council as part of the bylaws, and we're at almost all the meetings.
Jerry's helpful at all.
Jerry's very helpful.
Yeah. If we don't have lunch, we hear about it from,
Jeez, I'll tell you. Picky, isn't he?
Very picky.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks for the update. We look forward to them regularly, and we appreciate all the good work the DBO is doing downtown. Thank you all for being here. Good to see everybody.
Decker, what's the status on the elevator? Did that finally get,
The waiver was approved. It has not been let. It probably will not get let until late fall, possibly even.
it's just a matter of time now?
Yeah.
Yep, hopefully next year, depending on what happens.
Thank you.
You bet. Let's move to our, go ahead, Jerry.
Question, Ryan mentioned fence. We're gonna get a fence around the pond there, right?
Yes.
Yes, there will be fence around the pond.
What type of material are they gonna use for that? Hopefully not razor wire or something.
No, so we were,
Razor wire. No.
It's all ball bearings these days.
Alderman Sexer, we were able to work with the DOT, and all the fencing that's going to be installed downtown will be the vinyl, aluminum wrought iron look. So black, 3-rail fence.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morlock. Mr. Ryder.
And just to embellish on that a little bit as well, so Decker made the point today about when you hire someone that it's their job, he was mentioning this in regards to the first tee of the Quad Cities, that it's their sole purpose to do it. Ryan is that person, and quite often Ryan calls us, we have no idea what he's talking about, and then we go and find it. The chain link fence issue was a big deal, and it could have got out of hand really, really fast. But Ryan's boots are on the ground, and he's like, hey, there's a bunch of chain link poles going up. What the heck is going on? So we did a quick recon and found out that they were going to put, 5 linear miles, was it, Brent, of chain link fence throughout downtown?
$100,000.
And it was on page 400 and something of a 4,000 page packet when this thing was spec'd out, and nobody really caught it. But we stopped it, we nipped it in the bud, and it's because there's someone whose boots are on the ground every day to help us with that. And just about the pond really quick, Brent has some good news if you want to share it about the fountains.
Yes, so the fencing itself is part of the current urban park contract. They ended up having to split that into 2 pieces to accommodate the demo. So McCarthy was supposed to have started today. I think they were just mobilizing in, but they'll be cranking through, and that's everything north of the tracks up to Mississippi. So that fencing will go in hopefully yet this year, including around the pond. We do have 5 fountains, aerating fountains that are in. Casey and some contractors from Davenport Electric were over right behind the identity element at the Grand Street off-ramp, running electrical, putting some conduit in place. I'm hoping those will be installed, maybe even by the end of the week, worst case, middle of next week. So going to see some improvements rapidly happening down there, and then heard back that a few of our new entry signs are being started. We'll probably have 1 by the 4th, maybe 2, we're hoping. But they're all under contract and will be done here, in the next 3 to 4 months.
Good news. Thank you. Anything else? Okay. Excellent. We'll move to our operational items. These are to appear as 10 and 11. And for our explanation on the Stafford Creek Storm Sewer Repairs Project, we'll go to our city engineer, Brent Morlock. Brent. Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Okay, I know we talked about this a little bit 2 weeks ago, but just wanted to give you guys a quick summary of what is included in the Stafford Creek Storm Sewer Repair Project that has a public hearing scheduled for tomorrow night. Obviously, given the experience that we had on Stafford Creek in 2015, I wanted to make sure everyone had a comfort level with what we are actually doing as part of this project. So we've got 2 separate locations that we're packaging together, going to try to leverage our pricing. Tanglefoot Court, this was the immediate vicinity of where the stabilization project that was supposed to occur in 2015, and then ultimately the lawsuit that we lost. That area has continued to degrade pretty rapidly. We are not doing any stabilization as part of this project. So we have 2 storm sewer outfalls that you can see there in the red dots. So we got one there, one there.
Okay.
Those are at least a single section of pipe, as well as the flared end sections are laying in the bottom of the creek. The creek bank has continued to erode so far that it could not support the pipe anymore, and the pipe has fallen off. So those are immediate repairs that we cannot wait any longer. Those are within existing easements, and that is not drainage easement. Those are storm sewer easements because they run down the side lot lines. We also have the neighbor whose property is centered there, Mr. Brandenburg, has a swimming pool. Talked to us about, and I've got some photos back behind this in the next slide, about he's got an area that's degraded pretty rapidly at the backside of his property. He's got a very long parcel there, and wanted to see if we would be willing to, while we're there, build a little pocket of detention right there. So it's not a ton, but anything we can get on Stafford, quite frankly, is a benefit, because Stafford is our, our least amount of detention that we have on any creek in the city, and that's because it was predated all of our detention ordinances. So there's a few pictures of what you can see. The area on the left is the draw that we're looking down, where we're gonna build that up and create a little pocket of detention. And then the area on the right is actually the north bank of Tanglefoot there. So you can see the flared end section and the stick of pipe that's sitting down in the bottom of the ground. And you can see how far that has washed out. That utility pole is in pretty much immediate threat of collapsing. Even that neighbor's shed that you can see at the top of the photo, we're within probably 3 to 4 feet of that. That particular property owner was actually one of the ones that was part of the lawsuit that was very much against the project. We have not heard, we've submitted written correspondence to him twice now, and have not heard any complaints whatsoever. We will touch base again. We'll go knock on the doors at this point. But
You don't need to use his property to get back there, you're gonna use.
we have to access through the side yard,
Yeah.
not from the rear. So there's no trees coming down. That was the big contention.
And
as
you
part
won't have
of
to
that.
knock down the fence or anything.
The fence will have to come down and then be reinstalled. Unfortunately, it's one of the older ones where the fence should have never went in there. It's right on the property line, runs down the center of the easement, but we're gonna be good neighbors and we'll remove and reinstall it.
Okay.
So he was against us doing the whole project, or?
He was one of the ones, yes, on the north side there, but you can see in 5 to 6 years how much it has impacted his property now.
But he
So
was
that was
against it.
That was a good chunk of the people that were on the north side. They weren't being affected 5, 6 years ago, or they were minimally being affected.
Yeah.
Now it's affecting everyone through there. So we have that same situation that you see the pipeline in there on the south side as well. And that's actually immediately adjacent to the house who had to take their deck off. If you remember correctly, that was
Yep.
kind of the impetus of the project. And then we also have another section. This is slightly downstream. So Glenview Drive on the east, those are the North Willow Court condos. Same thing, we've got kind of a failing flared end there. And this one has actually blown out partially because of the design. So it's a large 36-inch storm sewer that's pointing directly across the creek. So it's caused probably a good 18 to 20 foot worth of a hole, basically, on the west side. You can actually see it on this photo. You can see the creek runs about through here, but you can see that big area in the center that has completely washed out, and the storm sewer over here is starting to fail as well. So,
Brent, is that between 29th and Willowwood?
yes. Yep.
So it's
29th is-
a different place on Stafford Creek.
Correct, yes. It is slightly downstream of the Tanglefoot Terrace on the south side of Tanglefoot. So we're gonna package these two together, given that they're close proximity. I think we'll get some better pricing on that.
So obviously, you're not gonna affect the volume of water that comes through there.
Correct. Nope.
How do you plan on minimizing net erosion?
So we're gonna, on this particular one, we're gonna do two things. We're gonna change the angle of that storm sewer. So instead of coming parallel to the creek, we're actually gonna go with the flow of direction. With the direction of flow, and point downstream. So we're gonna put in a manhole in there. We've got quite a bit of right of way to work with. If you look through the yellow lines that you see there are the right of way, so we've got a lot of room. So we're gonna change the direction of that pipe, and then we're also gonna be building some gabion walls on that south side to help stabilize that, because once it's been degraded to the point that it is, there's no way that simple backfill of soil is gonna hold. So we're gonna build probably a minimal about 3 to 4 foot, just to stabilize that toe. Just a few things to point out in general, this compared to our previous case, we are simply repairing our failed infrastructure. We are not addressing the large-scale stream bank stabilization issues that still exist, unfortunately, on Stafford. All the construction access will be done via the existing storm sewer easements, and then the city right-of-way that we happen to have on Glenview that runs all the way to the center of the creek. And all the adjacent property owners have been notified. 2 times at this point, and we have not received any correspondence with any concerns. Once we get a contractor on board, we'll go out and actually walk, like I said, knock on doors, because then we'll have to give them specific staging of how the project's going to go. But at this point, we have not heard anything from any resident, other than, I should say, the residents on the south side of Tanglefoot Terrace. So this group here, we have met with several times, and they are very much in favor. They've been asking us to address what we can.
And aren't they providing the access for the
They
project?
will be, yes. We will be coming down this side lot line to be able to get into here, and then also down this side yard.
Okay. Thanks. Questions for Brent?
Questions?
All right, Brent, thank you very much. We look
thank
forward to taking that up as items 10, the public hearing, and 11, the resolution tomorrow evening. I'm going to switch our consent agenda items here. Mr. Ryder, hold off, and we're going to go to Kathleen Richland, our Director of Human Resources, to talk about our friends at the Iowa Communities Assurance Pool for Liability. Welcome, Kathleen. Thank you. As you get it up, you can take care of your introductions for us, please.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. With me to present the liability numbers this evening is Jeff Young with Arthur J. Gallagher, our broker for general liability and property insurance. So in front of you on the screen is the premium comparison for property casualty and workers' compensation. And I'd like to address some of the areas on the spreadsheet. First, I would like to note that the numbers on the top of the sheet pertain solely to the city of Bettendorf. The numbers on the bottom, as Jeff will show you, if he scrolls down, there you go. The numbers on the bottom pertain to the Waterfront Convention Center. These premiums on the bottom are paid by the Isle. The total amount to be billed for the Isle, to the Isle for property general liability and excess is $62,281. If we go back to the top, there are 2 highlighted columns, fiscal year 22-23 budget and fiscal year 22-23 renewal, which is where we're going to be concentrating on for this presentation. As was discussed during budget time and due to various events over the past couple of years, for example, derecho and hailstorms, ICAP experienced a significant increase in property claims. Additionally, due to the increased cost of reinsurance because of large liability verdicts and settlements nationwide affecting the umbrella coverage and pricing, ICAP notified members that the liability insurance rates were expected to increase more than in past years for the upcoming fiscal year. By being part of the ICAP pool, the city experiences the activity within the pool and therefore would be affected by the loss experience. Staff budgeted accordingly based on this information. To begin, you will notice the city's property, including contents, increased by 18.02 from last year. And this is mainly due to increased property values as well as rates. General and law enforcement liability increased 22.64%, and this larger increase is due to the situations that have been occurring in Iowa that pertain to law enforcement department and the cost of reinsurance because of the large verdicts and the settlements that I had mentioned earlier. Auto insurance increased by 12.93%, and this is due to increased value and the cost of vehicles. Public official liability increased by 30.22%, and excess showed a 33.04% increase. Again, based on the increases in property, general, and law enforcement liability, as well as auto, excess will fall in line with those expenses. You will notice that the distribution from ICAP did not occur again this year, and basically it's due to the amount of claims processed and the larger claims as well. The distribution numbers are based on total losses in the pool, if there's a surplus in the pool, which we have experienced in the past, and based on what percentages Bettendorf is to the group. The credit can fluctuate year after year, and as you see, there was no distribution again this year. Therefore, the total ICAP package premium increased by 20.84%. The total includes buildings and contents, general liability and law enforcement, auto, public officials, liability, and excess. Employee dishonesty dishonesty stayed flat, and flood insurance increased by 17.36%. If we move on to liquor liability and dram insurance, the city received a 26.5% increase from last year, and this rate increase is tied to liquor receipts from Palmer Hills. Regarding workers' compensation, the city is again experiencing low workers' compensation claims and has a mod of 0.81. While the mod increased slightly, the state rates actually decreased and our payroll maintained. Payroll maintained due to the retirements occurring at a higher pay. New employees start at the beginning of the pay scale, which is normally lower. The higher mod maintained payroll and lower state rates actually caused our workers' compensation premium to decrease from last year by 3.14%, or a savings of $17,170 from last year. Another note, the city still has a zero deductible in place with IMWCA, and therefore IMWCA pays the first dollar of every workers' compensation claim. I want to stress how much the safety committee has been working and has truly gained strength over the year with extensive representation from all departments, from our IMWCA representative as well as Jeff Young. The city rolled out and is utilizing the IMWCA Safety University as added training on various topics. Weekly communications are sent out, which we call Safety Mondays, sent to all employees as another form of education and knowing what the city's last workplace incident was. Arthur J. Gallagher also sponsored a day-long safety training of approximately 30 items that our staff would be involved in. For example, electrical safety, fall protection, ladder safety. I mean, there was 30 different items that they talked about over that entire day. Approximately 50 people attended, that included the Bettendorf, Davenport, Scott County, and Muscatine employees. It was truly a nice benefit for all that attended. On a monthly basis, the department heads and the division heads also receive a report of what accidents or incidents are occurring within their department. This way they can communicate within their department with their staffs to find out why the incidents occurs and how to prevent them in the future, more on a hands-on basis. I commend the great work that the committee is doing, as well as the teamwork with staff that assist us in keeping the workers' compensation claims low. In conclusion, I want to mention, Jeff had brought this up, ICAP continues to work to recoup costs associated with the many property claims events over the last couple of years. It was stated that if we have a good year statewide in terms of property claims, ICAP has indicated that they would hope to see a slowing in property rate premium increases next year, and hopefully the return of the equity refund distribution, where we last saw it in 2021. The overall insurance renewal is set for $1.19 million, or about a 6.51% increase from last year's cost. Yet the renewal is less than the 22-23 budgeted amount by approximately $30,683. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to assist.
Questions for Kathleen or for Jeff? Jeff, thank you for being here. Yes.
I do, it's small, but like public official, the increase, is that just based on some national average, or?
It's based on actually claims frequency and severity. Remember, ICAP is a pool. This is not reflective of necessarily Bettendorf at all.
Right.
Okay, this is the pool program, and so there's been activity in the pool in the state, and as a result, settlements and things like that end up being passed down to members of the pool.
Right.
Okay, so again, not representative of necessarily Bettendorf at all. It's just part of the pool, and that's, you know, and you can see the excess also is up quite a bit, and that's a nationwide trend. That relates purely to jury trials and jury verdicts. In the insurance industry, they're called nuclear verdicts. Combination of law enforcement and just other very large jury verdicts that the insurance marketplace is having to deal with. So, trying to play catch up in that regard.
Yep. Okay.
Other questions? This is on for tomorrow night, a consent item G. I'd like to entertain a motion that it remain there.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That item will remain on consent unless somebody takes it off tomorrow evening. Thank you very much, Jeff. Good to see you. We'll see you on Friday. Thank you, Kathleen. Appreciate you. We move to Jeff Ryder, our Director of Economic Development, for a development agreement for Utica Ridge and Spruce Hills Drive. Jeff, thanks for being here. This is consent item F.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate your time this evening. I'm going to go over a brief review and then a request and talk about projects at the old lodge site. In your packet is a letter dated May 20th from Jim Russell, manager of CDCQC LLC. It's requesting a 2-year extension on their current project incentive package for an extension of the tax increment financing that was provided to them in 2018. At that time in 2018, the city and CDCQC LLC entered into a development agreement to redevelop the former lodge site. As part of that redevelopment plan, it was contemplated that the northernmost parcel, which you may see on your screen, which is located right where my arrows are pointing here, it was contemplated that this parcel would be marketed and developed into a commercial site, likely for a single-story Class A office building. The city assisted the developer with the acquisition of a Grayfield tax credit in 2019 as well from the state of Iowa. A Grayfield tax credit is a tax credit program separate and distinct from Brownfield, where it helps to provide incentives to redevelop sites that are either functionally obsolete or in need of support to redevelop the location. So this fit perfectly. However, the economic impacts of COVID-19 and other variables found that demands for Class A office space were quite light and the market was pretty soft. So the development team has pursued many options to try to develop the final parcel here in the CDC area, but it's been to no avail. The office market continues to remain very soft. Rising interest rates, increasing construction costs, and obviously workforce challenges are causing this parcel to be a little bit difficult to broker for a commercial office use. They do have interest now from a hotelier, Frontier Hospitality, to develop a Courtyard by Marriott product on this parcel. Frontier Hospitality is also the property owner that did the Home 2 Suites just to the south as well, and we have great confidence in their ability to provide good products in our market. So we do like this option. The location is obviously optimal along I-74. It's on a hotel complex site now if this was to occur. It's right at a prime exit point right there at Spruce Hills and 74 off of Utica Ridge Road as well. And there's other complementary properties up to the north in the Davenport corridor too. So the site does work very, very well for a hotel. Now, the aforementioned office product that was being suggested by Russell and CDCQC would have carried a value of about $3 million. It was about a 30,000 square foot plan. This product that's being contemplated, this hotel use, would be approximately $10 million at start, and it would probably go north of that based on the Home 2 Suites product and other hotels that are being built of similar size. Plus, it's a Courtyard flag, which carries a pretty strong value. So that's a net increase of $7 million in property value that would be beneficial over the long run to the city. In addition to that, a Class A office space is generating the property tax, the $3 million. We would see property tax off of that. In addition to the value of the hotel property over the long run, we're also going to see what they estimate to be about $300,000 in new hotel motel tax annually at this location. We believe the economic impact and benefit is pretty substantial having this sort of product offering. Our tourism climate is not getting any less. We obviously have a great sports complex development up to the north. We have events that draw 10,000 people now in our downtown where they like to stay in hotels and need those spaces as well. So things are actually on the rise in a great way for us. So we believe as a staff that the request based on construction costs and other variables for a 2-year extension of the TIF, which would take it from 2033 to 2035, is a reasonable request based on the amount of impact it will ultimately have on our community. At this time, staff would request an approval of an amendment to that development agreement to contemplate that 2-year extension. And in consideration of this 2-year extension, CDC QC LLC is agreeable to also taking their minimum assessment agreement from $6.75 million on this parcel, on this entire tract, to $13.5 million to be more reflective of the true value of what is occurring there today. So we think that's a nice concession that they have made, and that would run with the life of the development agreement through 2035. This would then, in conclusion, complete this area with the 2 hotels, the commercial corner at Utica Ridge, where you see the Milltown Coffee Shop, and the Quick Star is there as well, and it would complete that development site. And with that, Your Honor, I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Jeff. Questions? Yeah, Bill?
What is their timeline for start and then completion of this new hotel?
They've submitted preliminary plans for development review to the city. They expect to be operable in 2024, probably around Labor Day of 2024.
Is that going to be part of the development agreement, the extension?
We can
You're going to tie their hands to it?
we certainly can do that.
I think that's a good idea.
Mr. Connors, we absolutely can do that. I think we have full faith in knowing that this is a request from them. I think they're going to start as quickly as possible, but having an effective date, we can certainly add that to the DA.
Appreciate that.
And I can talk with Counselor Curran, but we could probably reflect that in tomorrow night's packet, I would assume, as a change.
Yeah, we'll have to talk to the developer, obviously. It's an agreement, but we can, if we get that, it's on the agenda, if we can get that ready for tomorrow, we'll be there.
I think that's a easy request to them, and I think they'd be very amenable to that.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Other questions? Yes, Greg?
Thank you. Not a question, it's a statement. I really think that this is a much better use of this land than some offices. We've got, this is overflow, wouldn't it be, from up north?
They are the owners of the Cambria.
Yeah.
So we would expect that they would make referrals to their own properties first.
Right.
Sure. Plus the location next to I-74 and the new bridge, I think this is much better, very supportive of it.
Other questions? Frank, any questions?
Nope, mine just got answered. Thanks, Greg.
All right, this is listed as consent F. It could be removed and put on the regular agenda if anybody wishes to do so, or we can approve a motion to leave it as consent F at this time.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That will remain as consent F. Yes, Jeff?
Something.
Your Honor, just one more point to add about the process that we're undertaking here. Just for the public's edification, we're amending the development agreement. The ordinance is intact. The ordinance was approved. We're not affecting the ordinance at all. So as relative to public hearings or any sort of ordinance readings, that has already all been taken care of. So I think just as a point of note for the public,
Sure.
all we are doing is amending the development agreement and operating within our capacity.
To give them the full 10 instead of less years for completion.
Legislatively, we would have the capacity to go to 20.
Right.
So we're still well within our metes and bounds as far as being able to operate with just an amendment.
Okay. All right. Council, please take a look at our remaining consent agenda items. If there's anything else on consent agenda that you'd like to discuss, now is the time. Nothing? Frank, anything on consent you want to talk about?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve all consent items for review as consent tomorrow.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you, Frank. Any opposed? All right, we'll take up all those items tomorrow. We're thinking of you, praying for you, Frank. Keep getting better, please. Any items to be added by council this evening? I have none, other than to thank the folks who put on the food truck fight. That was awesome. And we already got that done this evening. All right, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We stand adjourned. Thanks. Good work, everybody.